All right, welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, our beautiful country, and how we're going to fix both of those things together. On this episode, as you guys are filtering in, let me know if you got the audio to video feed properly, because it looks like we're good on this end. But we're going to talk about, is this a rhino actually waking up and doing what they're supposed to be doing, or is this a betrayal? This can go either way. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below on this one, because we're going to be talking about one of the architects of the gun control bill, the Senate Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, Tom Tillis. Now, this is a very interesting one. Again, I need you right down there. And of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on, because we have got some freedom to spread. And thank you in advance for that consideration. All right, looks like we are good with the audio and the video. Excellent. Let's jump in. All right, listen. Guys, this one intrigued me because, as you know, we do a bit of rhino calling out here. That's one of the things that we do, because the rhinos are one of the biggest problems that we focus on in the Second Amendment space, because, let's face it, that's where all the gun control comes from. All right, so this kind of struck me as interesting. Someone tweeted me this, and I wanted to dive in the rabbit hole, and we're going to do it together because I want to hear you. All right. So someone tweeted me or posted on X at BradenLOA. You guys can follow me if you'd like. A rhino has to rhino. Now, of course, the implication there is this is a rhino piece of action. Well, again, this is where it comes up for interpretation. I'm not defending Tom Tillis, but I do want to lay this out. Somebody primary this sorry person. That's what Derek Evans says. The Wall Street Journal outs Senator Tom Tillis as the guy behind Hegseth's ex-sister-in-law's last-minute hit on him. Now, what they're referencing is the last-ditch effort for the big accusation in a letter that came out in the confirmation of Pete Hegseth for the Secretary of Defense, and then it fell flat and nothing really came from it. But it's obviously a pattern. The reason this caught my attention, and again, I'm going to walk you through this entire thing in a second. Tom Tillis is the guy that partnered with John Cornyn and Chris Murphy and Kirsten Sinema to pass the Senate Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, a very large piece of gun control legislation that passed under Biden in 2022. So, this is, of course, catching my attention, but listen to this. So you guys know the playbook. All of a sudden, a big secret duper massive allegation comes out in a last second confirmation for one of the president's nominees or the Supreme Court, just like they did with Kavanaugh. It's obviously a thing, but listen to his actions. This is either a good move or this is a rhino move. You guys can tell me in the comments. So there's, of course, the article I found. This is from Red State. Now let me get into this so I can show you. Actually, let me zoom in a little bit so I can make this a little easier. When Pete Hegseth was a couple of days away from a vote on his nomination as Secretary of Defense, a typically low-rent act we've learned to expect during high-profile Republican nominations being considered occurred. From out of nowhere, a non-participant in any event appeared with a slanderous letter accusing Hegseth of domestic abuse. Very standard fare over the last 8 years. You guys know it, we know it, we talked about it. But let me show you what Tom Tillis actually did, and this is where it gets interesting. That's the whole Wall Street Journal outing Tom Tillis piece, okay? Again, not a fan of Tom Tillis, because the gun control thing, but watch this. Senators received an affidavit Tuesday from the former sister-in-law of Defense Secretary nominee Pete Hegseth, in which she says his behavior caused his second wife to fear for her safety. The receipt of the affidavit comes after Senate Armed Service Committee staffers were in contact with Hegseth's former sister-in-law for several days. Of course, this is how they always play out. Ultimately, the letter was deemed not credible by anyone who was not determined to defeat Hegseth's nomination. Not only was the former sister-in-law not present at some of the events she claimed happened, but Hegseth's ex-wife flatly denied the events happened. So, standard fare at this point. You've got a hit piece letter, a slanderous letter, an accusation against a Republican nominee, whether it's a SCOTUS or a cabinet position. Now, granted, the woman was never there when she said that it happened, and the woman that she said was victimized never said said she never victimized at all. But let's not get facts in the way, right? Very standard move. This is where Tom Tillis makes his little move, because this is where it was interesting that caught the attention of me in that X post, right? Tuesday, the Wall Street Journal revealed who made the promise to get this information out. In a statement, Tillis didn't dispute the Wall Street Journal's reporting about the call with the ex-sister-in-law. He said Danielle Hegseth's statement did carry weight, which is why I communicated my concerns to the White House and spent days doing my due diligence and seeing if there were any first-hand corroborating accounts of the sworn statement. He continued that he was not able to speak with anyone who provided first-hand corroboration. Tillis said that he did extensive research, including long conversations with Hegseth, and his vote, quote, makes it clear where the facts ultimately led, and that he looks forward to working with the new defense secretary. All right. This is where it gets really interesting, and this is RINO or this is Hero. This is that white hat, dark hat comment, and that's where I want to hear what you guys think. So if we're talking about him just doing his due diligence, and he communicated with the White House, and he made sure that everyone was above board. He had communications with the allegations, and he investigated them. He did his due diligence on those investigations. He turned out to vote for Pete Hegseth anyway because he just had to do those due diligence steps. Or it was something that was meant to potentially undermine what's going on with the Pete Hegseth nomination because it was going to be close, and it was 50-50 with J.D. Vance being the tying vote, and he put it forward as an option. This is the part where it's black hat, white hat. This is good, bad, all right? Again, he's framing this as, I did the whole thing, and now I'm going to look forward to working with the Secretary of Defense. Okay, again, it gets really, really interesting, and some things are brought up here that I think you guys should know about. It was well known that Tillis was a question mark on Hegseth's nomination. If someone approached him with blockbuster new evidence, it only makes sense that he'd want to see it and assure the person that, depending on what was proffered, the evidence could win over wavering senators such as himself. In the end, the allegations were of such disreputable nature that even if Tillis felt he needed a reason for voting against Hegseth, this was not it. Again, so that's kind of going towards that narrative of if this is truly what it is, then that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It failed. Okay, that's what basically that means. Now, this is interesting. So I'm going to read this Facebook post around this topic, and you guys tell me if this is kind of your thinking or the opposite. Again, not a fan of this guy because he's the RINO responsible for the Senate Bipartisan Safer Communities Act against us, all right? So this is in the Facebook post. Senator Tom Tillis, he is not the bad guy here. Most likely scenario is ex-wife of Hegseth's brother was pushing story, and Tillis said put it in writing and sign it, and we'll take it seriously. He did, and then voted for Hegseth, concluding it was unsupported. So, okay, let me read the second part. That she is making the public now is designed solely to hurt Tillis. Do not let that strategy work. What do you guys think about this one? And I'll get into the chat in a second. Do you think that this was quite literally a hit piece attempt, and Tillis, recognizing that it was a hit piece attempt, went down this road of, well, let's put it in writing and swear to an affidavit. And then we'll do the research to corroborate you. And when it turns out to be total crap, we're just going to say, yeah, that was total crap and ignore it. Or do you think this may have been like a little bit of an undermining play where potentially it could have done some damage because it was going to be a close vote? You guys can determine that. I can't tell you. But it is interesting that she's making it public now only to hurt Tillis, which would be a payoff if it's a Democrat hit piece against Tillis now. Kind of a twofer. You're either going to sink the nomination of Hegseth or you're going to damage Tillis. Either one, right? This is the PSYOP warfare they have been doing for a while. But anyway, this is the actual conclusion from the article, and this is where I want to hear you guys, and I'll get into the comments in a second. I don't see where the letter did Hegseth any harm. In fact, its ridiculousness may have helped. I certainly don't see how the chain of events leads to the conclusion that Tillis acted dishonestly. And I'll tell you, I'll go on record, I'll tell you my honest perception on this. I don't trust Tillis. I don't love Tillis, and I do not like that he is responsible for the gun control that passed under Biden. However, in this case, what it looks like he did was it looks like he recognized what was happening because it is a well-played playbook over the last 10, 15 years. Anyone getting confirmed by the Republicans, anyone going for SCOTUS for the Republicans, there's always all of a sudden a bombshell scandal, usually against abusing women. It seems like he identified it and went down the steps to kind of corner it and say, put it on paper, put it in an affidavit, let's see where this goes. I think that is what we're looking at right here. But I'm going to jump in the chats real quick. Let me see what you guys think. Don't trust Tillis. Oh, absolutely not. 100% right. Okay, so Nathan Meyer, this is an interesting one. Yeah, this person was put forth the Safer Communities Act. Tillis was looking to torpedo Hegseth. Guys, jump in here. What do you guys think? Is this a situation or no? I'm curious. I'm really curious what you think. Tillis is a snake and needs to be primaried. I agree he needs to be primaried, 100%. I just find this so fascinating. They shouldn't have made the letter public after the investigation. Tillis is a snake man. Snake man. That's a funny image. And I want to reiterate, I am not on Team Tillis. Like, there is nothing about me that says don't primary this guy, because that gun control vote is the reason that it passed. Him, right there. He negotiated it. Lots of stuff. Definitely a fake. Yeah, it was definitely a fake, 100%. Absolutely. Someone said GOA 2A 100%. Absolutely. Okay, so this is an interesting. Erica brings forward an interesting point. He's trying to save his butt. I called today as a constituent. Okay, that's interesting. So it seems like there's not a lot of trust in here. He talks out of both orifices. Okay, so it seems like you guys in the chat over here are definitely going down the road of, so are we winning? Yes, we are winning. Yeah, that is, I think you guys are on the same page. Don't trust him. May have been trying to save his butt. There's an element he may have outmaneuvered this, but I don't know. I just thought it was interesting because Tom Tillis is the gun control guy, and I thought it would be interesting to see if, just see what y'all thought. I'm going to jump over here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'll see you later.